Welcome to SunnySpeaks. Here again with another review for you, and you. And today, I am here to talk about BetterMan, directed by Micheal Gracey and starring Robbie Williams, Jon Davies, Raechel Banno, Steve Pemberton, and many more. This movie is the biopic for Robbie Williams, his life and career, from being in the pop boy band Take That at 15 years old to record-breaking shows in his solo career. But throughout all this, not only is he shown as a spirit animal, a monkey, the entire time, but also shows his struggles with depression and addiction throughout his life. To start off, because I wondered this too, him being a monkey is never acknowledged and never explained in the movie, ever. The only reason why I know that it's his spirit animal is because of interviews I've watched after. But I'm so glad they took that route, because it works so well and differentiates itself from other biopics. My favorite part of the fact that he is a monkey, and that is the vessel that you see throughout this entire movie, is it's a comment on the dancing monkey for entertainment and him feeling that way when it comes to the masses, but also only seeing himself that way. Nobody acknowledges him as that. Nobody tells him to do that. That's something he internalized. And yet, even without people saying that around him, nobody ever calling him that, nobody ever making him try to feel that way on an external way with their words, you understand why he views himself that way and why being an entertainer comes with its own sets of scars and its own struggles that are hard to see or even to understand. You never forget what you're looking at with that choice of him being a monkey man. And I don't think the movie ever tries to make you forget. But what it does in a really cool way is you still lose yourself in the emotions and the overall story being told. And this man monkey being as Robbie Williams is not the craziest thing you'll see in this film. There's so many cool song numbers and montages and transitions that actually symbolize something, not just a passage of time, but a way of life and a distortion of character and reality. And I really appreciate that. The filmmaking by Micheal Gracey on a visual standpoint is beautiful. I love the grainy effect used throughout the film where it's almost hard to see things at times. And that sounds like that could be a negative, but for some reason it just works for me because it almost feels like an out-of-body experience sometimes. It feels that way especially during certain songs and montages where Robbie's on drugs trying to cope with the fast life that he is a part of. And there are just some really dope choices visually to show him fighting his demons. One of my favorite moments in particular in the movie is when he is literally fighting his demons during a performance at Nebworth, which was a record-breaking show where I think he performed for like 85,000 or something insane, some crazy number. And it was really cool to see that visualized while he's performing a song like Let Me Entertain You. It was really, really cool. Shout out Robbie Williams for the really cool music, the truth that he kept inside of the story about his rise and himself and his flaws. And shout out Jon Davies for doing the physical work on the mocap for the main character. It always felt surreal, but real at the same time. It was always easy to connect to, and that's a testament to both of them and their acting on two different fronts. So shout out to them. And again, shout out to Robbie Williams for being able to have a full circle moment with his career and be able to be in his own biopic. Not everybody can say that. Pharrell has done that, and I'm pretty sure other people have too, but still, shout out to these artists for being able to live that long and to want to do that. That's just really dope to me. Steve Pemberton also did a great job playing Robbie Williams' dad, Peter Williams, or Pete Conway. I appreciated the representation of a father who couldn't stop dreaming, even at the cost of his own family. And after you see Robbie achieve what Peter always wanted to achieve in his life, there's a quiet jealousy and a ignorant parental influence. But even in that, I like that their conversations weren't completely one-sided ever. Both said things of merit at times, and without Peter Williams' influence on Robert the child, he probably wouldn't be Robbie Williams the star. And sometimes that's just a sad fact of artistry. I can relate. This movie does have flaws though. It being a biopic, it falls in the same traps of rushing the timeline maybe too far. I think it does a solid job of how the timeline is shown for the audience, but by the end, things definitely start to just kind of wrap up, and you don't really feel a lot of the weight of what's happening. I will give the movie a little bit of grace though, because Robbie Williams said in a interview that at the peak of his powers in his career, he was on so much drugs and dealing with so much addiction that he doesn't even remember a lot of that time. And I think the movie does showcase that in a very cool first person montage that is going through all the drugs and the shows that he's doing over and over, performing for all these masses of people, but he's not fully there and fully cognizant of what's happening. So even with feeling that way with the rush timeline, I will give it a little bit of grace because that is accurate. The grandmother of Robbie, named Betty, played by Alison Steadman, also was a really warm and loving character in this movie. And after Robbie and his father's dynamic, Robbie and his grandmother was my second favorite to watch in the movie. Most characters feel like caricatures and not real people, and if they do feel like real people, there wasn't enough time spent with them to feel a lot of emotional impact. In those moments, like the romance that Robbie has with Nicole Appleton, who was a part of All Saints, another pop band played by Raechel Banno, it's easy to understand drug addiction, sex addiction, fame, and jealousy being the crux of ruin for a relationship. It's harder to make you feel that. And for me, I think the best way to do that is to show the good moments. Show as much as you can of those good moments. But in this movie, they speed run that whole relationship through one song and montages of them laughing and enjoying themselves. So when shit does hit the fan, you don't feel much of the impact of that because you didn't live with them during the good times. Even though I do think that they had good chemistry. And again, it's funny me saying that with a monkey falling in love with a woman. It's a strange visual, but I do think it worked in my opinion, at least their chemistry. But as far as when things go wrong and it doesn't work out like how he wanted it to, the impact of that is harder to grasp because you didn't feel the good moments with them as much as maybe you could have. And if it was constructed differently, it would hit, but for me, it didn't. Overall though, I can say that I enjoyed this biopic way more than I expected. I feel like I've enjoyed biopics more than I expected in general. The weirdest thing about it, him being a monkey the entire time, is actually something I loved about the movie. I'd give this movie a mostly cloudy rating. While enjoying it more than I thought I would, it having great vocal performances. I loved the songs in it. I loved the song numbers. I loved the dances. Again, Jon Davies did an incredible job with the facial expressions and the emotions he would put on, and the dance movements were really great. And when he's with Take That, I think that they all did a great job as far as just the numbers and the songs. I really liked the dynamics between characters. Again, Robbie and his father, I think they have really interesting and dynamic dialogue, and Robbie and his grandmother was something that not only could I connect to and relate to, but I loved watching. And the movie has beautiful visuals to carry you throughout the runtime. I don't think this is a movie I'd want to watch again though. But if I did, I don't think I'd hate it. If anything, I think I'd probably like it more because I just know what to expect, and I know the slower parts coming up, or the parts that I won't fully connect to, and I won't feel disappointed by that. But I did enjoy this movie, and if you know nothing about Robbie Williams, because he didn't cross over that well to the US, I would say go watch this movie. I definitely recommend it because I didn't know anything about Robbie Williams, and now songs like Go DJ and Let Me Entertain You and Angels have been stuck in my head because he's just a really great artist. I appreciate him as an artist, and for him choosing to go down this path with his biopic, something that was more of a visual experience. And again, if you know nothing about Robbie Williams, I would say go watch BetterMan because it put me onto his music, put me onto his artistry, and I'm glad that I know now. I'm glad that I'm educated. I think biopics are the best when you don't know much about the artist, because then you don't have these expectations of what to see or like the highlights of their career, when it's just like the highlights that you have in your head of their career. And just being able to go into it with a less critical eye. This has been my review of BetterMan. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will be back again. It's 2025, and I'm going to be consistent for myself. And thank you for anybody who is going to watch these videos moving forward. I really do appreciate you. and peace.